Hello virtual dreamers, Gregory here, and welcome to The Prologue, a weekly series of videos where I document my activities, track my stats, and complete quests, all for the sake of creating my dream virtual reality rig. Well, that's the usual script for these kind of videos, but everybody, this is going to be a little bit different than usual, so please bear with me as we try to adjust to the changes. There's no script here, I don't have my phone in my left hand, so kind of just working in blind in this case. I'll try to edit here and there just to kind of keep things brief, but yeah, everybody, there are going to be some significant changes going on to this series, and I just wanted you guys to know about the change that's going to be happening, because it's kind of a goodbye, but it's also not really, if I'm being honest. But let's just get the whole prologue stuff out of the way. It was again another fairly productive week. I've been just kind of doing some more design-based changes behind the scenes on certain things, mainly game development, some VR rig planning, and that sort of stuff. And one of the big things that I've actually been trying to address lately is this series and the creation of videos overall for the channel, because I've been trying to progress little by little in different ways over time, and I feel that one of the things that's holding me back from properly just letting loose is just the sensation or the feeling that I kind of try to hold myself exclusively to VR content in terms of the channel in a certain sense for virtual dreamers. I mean, the series is VR related, but at the same time I've been having this feeling lately that even though it is VR related because of the VR rig, I feel that there's just too much, well, me inside of this series. And I actually want to get away from that a little bit, insofar as the Virtual Dreamers channel is concerned. As such, this will be the last prologue that we'll be releasing on the Virtual Dreamers channel, because it will now be home on my new channel, the MarkystalVR YouTube channel, which will be more focused on my own personal activities, so I'll be kind of de-emphasizing the whole engineering stuff and VR stuff, insofar as it relates to the VR rig and the YouTube channel over here on Virtual Dreamers, in order to focus more on some of the other aspects of my progress, or of the prologue that we kind of have going on here. I'm sorry for making this abrupt change, everybody, but I think that it's going to be for the best that I now have the opportunity on the MarkystalVR channel to more openly express my thoughts on various other matters beyond virtual reality, whether it be the kind of anime I'm watching, my study methods for Japanese, what I'm doing in class, or that kind of thing. Something that's a little bit more personal and I guess vlog-like, which is kind of suitable just because the prologue is basically just a progress vlog thing. So ultimately, I think that this change will work out for the better, since it means I'll have more creative liberty, or feel like I have more creative liberty in the long run. However, that doesn't mean that I just want to abandon weekly videos now for the Virtual Dreamers channel, since that is one of the goals that I had in mind. I want the Virtual Dreamers channel to stay alive, just so we can keep having some interesting discussions and engagement. We just started up the Discord community, and I'm not just going to leave you guys hanging just because I want to cut off the prologue and have a bit more creative freedom. As such, I'm going to be taking the engineering portion of the prologue, the part that I'd usually just go over how the VR rig is doing and all that, and it's going to become its own separate series called the Virtual Dream Journal series. In essence, it's just me documenting what I've been doing in that week, insofar as the virtual reality rig is concerned. Production values are going to be fairly simple. I'll try to include some illustrations, basic imagery of what I'm doing, or just writing things out. Like with this video, it's most recently just going to be just me in front of a keyboard typing, because that's really what I spent most of this week doing insofar as engineering is concerned. The VR rig is kind of progressing a little bit more in a just trying to figure out what to do next kind of trajectory, because now that I've figured out that the control solution can work as I had originally envisioned it, it's basically just a matter of execution and doing it. And when I try to do this execution, I now have to consider not only the control solution, but the other aspects of the system. Since control is just one part of the battle, beating VR locomotion does not mean that virtual reality is suddenly just Sword Art Online level. There's still a lot of things that need to be done. So yeah, I'm going to be addressing those a little bit more directly inside of the Virtual Dream Journal series. Also, I do want to note, I'm going to be trying to do a little bit more virtual reality content on the actual channel itself, whether that be exploring certain ideas, doing more kind of discussion videos where I just analyze an idea, or trying out virtual reality software, showing people how to create virtual reality software, because I feel that there's a lot of misunderstandings in how that kind of stuff or processes work, because it's really not as complicated or different from any other video game or media creation when you really break it down. There are just some considerations that you have to keep in mind. It's kind of like how making a phone game isn't all that different from making a regular video game. You just need to consider that phones aren't as strong as consoles or PCs. So that's basically a similar process for VR, except on the other end of the spectrum. You need a much more powerful system for a VR game, so you need to consider what you want to balance out and that kind of stuff. But yeah, we'll save that for another video. You see, this is the kind of stuff we're trying to avoid here. But yeah, everybody, I'm sorry for making the change so abruptly. I lament that I couldn't take more time with this, but I think that it's going to be for the best overall that we start breaking these videos down, chunk them into more manageable pieces so that the information gets out there, because I feel that a lot of times I'll get asked questions on things that I've already answered in my videos, and I think that part of that is just because it's much more difficult to watch a 10, 20, 30 minute long video on something than it is to watch a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 minute video that has a very specific and direct point. I can't help but feel reminded of what my programming professor actually was telling me. See, programming class can actually be helpful in some ways this semester beyond the actual syntax stuff. But yeah, just the mindset of programming where you try to break down problems, and whenever you're programming, to create distinct functions that have a very particular purpose so that you can reuse them across a system. And in a way, you could say that that's what I'm starting to do for the channel and my own activities as well. So everybody, thank you very much for your consideration in watching this video. And before we go, actually, I still need to get you guys know what happened to the quest, the whole Japanese learners placement test level 4 practice exam thing. Yeah, everybody, that quest was passed, even if the test wasn't. Oh man, I'm not too happy with the results I got on that test. The vocab portion wasn't too bad. I feel that if I just shore up a few points here and there, look up a few more words, drill myself a bit harder, I'll be able to pass that relatively no problems. But the grammar portion, oh boy, yeah, I really wish I'd taken that practice exam a lot earlier, because I've just realized how much of a deficiency I have in this area. It's like there are small little mistakes here and there that I'll just make in interpreting things, and just the act of reading Japanese is much more difficult than I'd initially anticipated, even though I know far more kanji than is necessary. The good thing is that the new study method that I've implemented is working out fairly well. I printed out a grammar list for the Japanese learners placement test, and I've just been going through each individual point on it and writing 3 sentences for it. And I feel that that's just been helping me out quite a bit, because to be quite honest, I wouldn't have really expected myself to be able to just write out Japanese sentences somewhat casually at the beginning of this year. So in that respect, this quest, or these efforts to try to pass the Japanese learners placement exam, have really been an enormous bolster to my activities in the language. And even if I pass or fail, which, guys, trust me, I really want to pass, regardless of what happens, at the very least I can say that that's been a very positive fruit. But seriously, I'm going to be studying like crazy over this next month. I really want to pass that exam, and it is on December 2nd. So yeah, everybody, wish me luck there. And yeah, for my quest for this upcoming week, the week of November 10th through to November 16th, relocating. Because regardless of what I've done so far, it's still going to be a little bit of a process to move all the videos over, start creating the new format for the new series over here on the Virtual Dreamers channel, and just communicating this information to all of you. To everybody who's been here from the start of the prologue, thank you very much for all of your continued efforts and supports, and really for clearing quest number 1, because the first quest really was just to follow along, and if you're still here, you're doing pretty good on that. So yeah, everybody, it's really been a pleasure having all of you along with me, and hopefully we'll have a lot more to discuss as videos go along, and on much more varied topics now that this series is going to have a new home that'll allow that a bit more. So till next time, my fellow adventurers and dreamers, this has been Gregory, logging out.